February title update, you may have noticed that there's a new bunch formation in Madden 25, and it goes by the name bunch spread nasty. Now, you can find this formation in a number of playbooks. I know the Kansas City playbook is very, very popular, but I believe the Seattle Seahawks boast one of the best plays that you can call out of this particular formation in the form of the play known as corner divide. And the reason for it is that beside the obvious one-play touchdown potential with the skinny post on this play, this is a great way to check the ball down against the most prominent defensive meta in the game, which is cover 4 hard flat, oftentimes with a loop blitz that players will run or a ram blitz through the B gap, which forces you to have to dump the ball down quickly. Now, the two routes that we're going to be breaking down on this play are the non-feature route on this. You notice the red route is the skinny post, but it would be irresponsible for me not to break down how this play works as a cover 3 bomb first and foremost. So let's go ahead and start off with this. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, hit that notification bell, and drop a comment below to push this video out in the YouTube algorithm. So starting off with this play, this is a traditional cover 3 bomb. And what we mean by this is that really all you have to do is just streak the inside receiver on this. You could, if you wanted to, streak the outside receiver and then put the inside receiver on a whip. But then you're just going to want some sort of corner route that runs into the sideline on the short side of the field. In fact, I've probably done a tip on this before here on the channel. If you get a cover 3 at all, this skinny post is going to be open for the one-play touchdown over the top. I'm calling off my Colossus here just so I can show this to you. And you see right here that even a tight end is going to be able to get over the top for the touchdown. So this is a great bomb play. It also obviously has real potential as well against the cover 4 meta. Now, the cover 4 meta you'll see out of pretty much every defense in the game. It doesn't matter whether you face someone in the dime 3-2 or the dime 1-4, 4-3, even 6-1, or for instance, in this video, we're going to be using the 3-3 odd. Cover 4 is the most prominent defense that you're going to face in the game. And players are going to shade this coverage down quite often against you because they want those hard flats in the flats. Well, that's going to open up some features of the corner divide besides just the skinny post. And I think that you're going to really like what we have to share here. So when I'm facing a cover 4 base player, I actually want my bunch to the short side of the field. Now, as kind of a scheming tip, I am in the Seattle playbook. My base formation that I come out in is known as the bunch tight end. So if you're a player that says, ah, man, you know, I hate when I have to run my bunch to the short side of the field, the cool part is my base offense, which you guys can find on my strategy website, Gridiron Game Plans, is out of the bunch tight end, and it is mostly bunched to the wide side, although I do have some short side setups. So what I will do is I will come out and bunch, and then I will audible into this other spread nasty, which allows me to flip my bunch from the wide side to the short side, but it's a completely different formation that they have to respect. So just for starters, when you're facing someone in this style of cover 4 hard flat defense, you're running this where they have the drag and then they got to go back to the post. And then of course we like to throw this whip route in between if they drop into the middle of the field. So this is a great starter level flood concept over the middle. You can really ad lib off of this if you want to. One of the things that I honestly will do quite often with this is I will go ahead and put the X receiver on a really deep curl, and I'll even custom stem this up a little bit while running this concept. Now, hear me out on this. The reason I will do this is that I can run this post route that I can stem up and kind of make it work as a seam route. You know, this is when I'm not really looking to throw the post for a touchdown. This is just a great way for me to maybe have something on the field that will be a one-play touchdown if my opponent over adjusts. But I'm actually using this post route for a different reason, mainly in that I want it to drive off this zone over here, because when that happens, your opponent will have to basically lurk that curl route to the solo receiver. So if you kind of imagine with this type of concept, you're down here, obviously if they're looking for the whips and the drag and they want to guard both of those, then that curl ends up being open because we use this route to pull not only the safety on the right side of the field, but also the safety over here. So when we snap this ball, you notice that the verticality of Devin Hester makes this safety have to drop as well, which opens up his teammate on the other side of the field. So this is a great way to scheme open that solo receiver by really not getting too complicated with this. So that's just a nice little 2-route combo that you can use to win in the middle of the field with this. Now, of course, this play is also very, very good against the outside of a cover 4 hard flat defense as well. And the reason for that is that we have a flat breaking corner route. Now, this is very, very different if I were to contrast this to Greg Olson's corner route. Look at the depth change from Olson, who's running more up the field after his cut, versus Hester, which is honestly, he's breaking more like it's an out route, but it still does gradually kind of fade up towards the sideline as it gets closer to the sideline, that is. So one of the really, really cool things about this play is I could come out and literally run this as basically a super flood to the short side. You know, I could do something like this. I could still go ahead and play, you know, check down games on the wide side of the field, especially if they're usering over here. You could throw this little running back streak up the backfield. But the point I'm making here is if they're over here on this, watch how this out route breaks into this void on the sideline, and it's just wide open for an up pass lead. And we're able to pick up a huge chunk of yardage. Again, because we are utilizing a pull route that is pulling not only the safety on the right side of the field, but also the outside quarter. So with both those guys respecting that, that gives a nice patch of turf for you to throw the ball into the sideline for an easy gain. Now, if you guys enjoyed this content here on the channel, make sure you guys check out my strategy website, gridirongameplans.gg. I just mentioned a moment ago how I come out in the bunch tight end and then audible into this formation to not only change my formation, but I still somehow stay in a bunch. It just goes from the wide side to the short side while completely changing the alignment of my offense. This type of scheming is what we do over on gridirongameplans.gg. Opened in 2020, it's the best place to stay on top of the meta or the most effective tactics available. Otherwise, what the pro players are doing, how it works, and how to beat it. Not just beat it, but do it in a way where you understand why you're doing what you're doing. So make sure you guys go check it out. Updated weekly is our vault, all offensive and defensive game plans, members only Discord access, and live lab sessions where you can ask me anything every single week on Wednesday evenings. You guys can unlock the entire website for $9.95. I'll see you guys in the Discord. So naturally here with this, you can kind of see that it's tough to sit back against this style of offense because we just have too much of a check down game, whether we're attacking outside or over the middle. And of course, with this, what players tend to do is they blitz. Now, we've done so much blitzing content here on the channel, but you guys know that dragging this linebacker across in the 3-2, or in this case, the 3-3, and then coming down here and letting this guy try to loop is very, very popular. However, you do notice here with this defense that it didn't really work that way. As you see, when I dragged this guy across, it actually pulled him straight down into the gap here on this play. Now, this play in general is so good because what players will do with this cover 4 based defense is they will basically end up with just one hook to guard both sides of the field. And that is not going to work. Okay. So what we're able to do with this is still attack the middle or the outside with the combos that we've already broken down. So all I really do when I face this is block the running back and half slide away from that linebacker. You see it puts the HB logo on him. This prepares me against the ram blitz or the crossfire loop at the same time. But from a route perspective, I can run the layered crossing route, basically a trail combo or a follow combo, or I could run this play with the runoff in the corner route. Again, it doesn't really matter because we end up with the ability to beat the hard flat inside with the whip route over the middle, or outside over the head on the sideline. So this zone is always wrong. And it's so great to be able to run two routes that put a zone in conflict to the level that it actually guards neither of them. So you see right here, this hard flat is obviously on this whip, but it gets beat back to the inside. So this throw into this patch of turf is open. But let's say that the user is smart on this side of the field and they come over to this area. All of a sudden, we still have Devin Hester over the top of the head of that hard flat at the same time. So this little two route exchange puts this guy in between both routes and actually out leverages him against both when you actually get the ball out of your quarterback's hands. So by the time that this comes out, both routes are open, even though your opponent thinks they're in a good defense. So naturally, of course, what this elicits is more of a over-adjusting type response from most players. They are going to go and they're going to set up their blitz, whether it's a cross loop or a ram blitz or whatever. And then they start to make this type of adjustment. And this is a very, very common adjustment for these cover 4 style players. And it's literally to play their defense with just hooks on the field, a 4-man loop and cloud flats, and then they try to switch stick. Well, unfortunately, that's where this offensive formation actually has so much of its strength. Now, I'm not going to go into it too deep because I've already actually done videos here on the channel. So again, yet another reason to subscribe right here. You guys could go back, even in the last 2 weeks, I've done videos. Last 2 months, I've done several videos on this formation where you actually take a look at what it does well, and it attacks the deep sideline with these kind of like fade wheel routes. You see one here in this motion slot hitch, as you also see here in this play known as shock halfback wheel. You can kind of tell that this playbook in general is filled with these. I'll give you one here that I've actually already broken down out of the play cheat flood. Again, kind of think about this style of defense. So many players like to come out in this cover 4 and then they modify it and change both of these slot corners into hooks, both of the outside corners into flats, and then they basically set up their ran blitz or their loop blitz of some sort in the middle of the field, and they just lurk. Again, if you know what you're doing against this, look at this play cheat flood with this route to Patterson and how it just continues to fade and fade and fade. I don't have to do too darn much with this. If I know this blitz is coming, I just go ahead and set up my protection for it. And then when you snap the ball, pick up your pressure, this fade route is going to end up getting leverage on that outside quarter. Your opponent will never know to switch stick to it because it looks like it's covered, even though it's not. And there's a million of these types of routes against that defense. So once you get your opponent out of the cover 4 hard flat and into this alternate defense, it's just as easy to score up top. So you're setting up the big play here with such a hard to stop little check down play. And it's one of the reasons these bunch formations are so popular. They're wide formations. They're not nearly as compressed as your traditional bunch strong type formations. They're just a little bit more spread, and that makes a huge difference. But I'm gonna get up out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, check out Gridiron. I got a list of things for you to do, but I appreciate all your support, and I'll see you guys in our next one. Until then, this is Zan. Get in the lab and good luck.